90% is unorganized workforce. So how do we really do a effective demand stream? It's not only demand, they are also a producer as well as a consumer. I think that's a very another facet of that. When we do organizing the unorganized, it requires social capital. Social capital building is a real fast, and very few people are available to fund this. In fact, we are fortunate to get a support of Oxfam Novik for 20 years to create many federations. So each federation takes about 5 years to be self-sustainable. To become that, we need $100,000 for 5 years. The costing, benchmarking, all, it's a development business. It's not really, we are talking about development alone. It's a development business where it takes you through a nested institution. It's not just a primary groups or producer groups, which has to be nested with a distinctive value addition. It's not hierarchical or a tier system. I think the tier system is aggregation, but this has a different role to play. And this institution now, currently 150 federations are self-sustainable. They are paying our salary, almost $2 million last year, financed by the community themselves for Dhan. This is a second generation. Once we have a social capital, it doesn't mean that each one need to be completed, other generation has to start. It's a overlapping. It's a overlapping process where this is a financial support is very, very critical. Banking finance. They have an entitlement of getting a funds from the bank. I think banks are really relating with this institution of a greater order. Probably in the financial initiation, inclusion, here all these people are landless. All of them are landless. They have been grouped as a self-help group, and they have their own savings, which is almost $50 million is their own savings, which is lent for themselves for financing. And they are also leveraging from the bank, local bank branches, which is RBI, Reserve Bank, Central Bank, given a guidelines, now no collateral. This is no collateral, only social collateral. So they can get 3 times of their savings for the lending for the groups to really do that. So which is really takes the process forward. Then here, now the bankers are giving a CC limit for the group. It's not an aggregation. It's a really decentralized. Each self-help group is really access for it as a CC limit, like cash credit. So they can have a limit and they can link with that. Then it provides a viable banking. It's not a term lending anymore. So the business provides that sustainability. I think here it takes 3 to 5 years. In fact, this social intermediation takes from the year 1 itself, from social kind of first generation itself. Then this needs a business investment, banking investment, which they really take and repay 100%. Here the message is viable and sustainable banking at supply stream has to be really work together. The third generation is coming to enterprise. I think the first 2 generation, the poor people do certain activity, for that they take a loan. So we call it as in entrepreneurship model as a model 1. So missing link is credit and increase the productivity with the credit. But this second model is basically aggregation of whatever they do, both input and output aggregation. If it's a milk or if it's a fruits and vegetables, you really link with the market. They are the producer groups. These very, very primary producer groups. They are aggregated as a producer company, like yesterday you learned from them. Then this producer company does a value addition and also direct retail, like milk is packed and really sent to the market directly by the producer company, by the producer themselves. I think we have a milk federation, we have a fruits and vegetable federations, which as a producer company does that. And here the skill building for enterprise is very, very important. Because here we are expecting social enterprise person as a super human being, no? He has to be a social person, he has to be a banker, he has to be a business person, and all in one. I think that's where the real aspect which really comes here. So these are the entrepreneurship And as an enterprises, I think whenever we do a micro enterprises, each individuals are doing, how do you collect them to become an enterprise so that you really get a scale or you really have a bargaining power with the market? I think that's where the critical thing is there. So here, developing and scaling up social entrepreneurs with enterprises is an important thing. The fourth generation is, it's not just stop there. They are financing health, they are doing hospitals, educational institution, which is also sustainable. They really put a initial investment for 2 to 3 years as associates, primary schools and that kind, and become a vital player in the local society. Once this federation are established, the local government, it's a force to reckon with. They have to consult. They have to really take their into consideration. And they become now holistic integrated performance. I think when we talk about integrated performance, so they are in all. Like poverty, 15% of the poor people in poverty because of health reason. They need to be addressed with a health perspective. Whether it's anemia or it's undernutrition, it needs a specialized intervention there. So there, it generates self-generate investment. They themselves are really growing, self-growth. One federation promotes another federation, and they really generate surplus. Here the issue is, during a promotional period, we get some promotional fund, no? And how do we amortize the promotional fund? If you really amortize, it needs 10 years. I think all these exercise needs are long term. This is, I'm talking after 15 years or 20 years of experience. We can't talk about quick fix 3 years solution. I think let us really clear about it. Whoever talks about social enterprises need to be a long haul, and also the partners also should be a long haul, and there will be a lot of ups and downs, and somebody has to really back it up. I think it's not, I'm really proposing a really very smooth kind of thing. I think to make it workable, to be a transformative model of there has to be community ownership and governance. That's what SEP is talking about. It. How do you bring a community ownership? Many times we talk about community-based institution. I'm always against this based. It's a community institution. The community institution, community wants it, community really governs that. But we need a professional man. If you want to have a scale-up, it's very tough to handle it. I think even in government, we have a 3 systems. One is governance system as well as the executive system and judiciary system for any self-governed processes. So you need a separate professional management to manage. That's where Dhan is keeping a pool of professionals. There are about 700 people deputed to different institutions, and we really tooling them with a different kind of management development program. And it also should be a legitimate corporate entity. It has to be legitimate. You can't really say if you want to pay tax, pay tax. And really be law-abiding institution. I think these 3 makes us really growing and scaling up in a big way. That ensures equity and democracy. The challenges are. I think in social enterprise field, this conceptual clarity is really eluding us. I think though we talk about it different perspective, I think we'll keep on discussing and debating. Is it a civil society we're talking about? There are many things goes into it. So it's a combination of many. And creative funding is needed, either impact investment or anything. There is a need for a creative funding, which need to be defined very clearly. And enabling policies definitely needed. I think we really feed into a lot of policy framework. That does work with Reserve Bank, all places. Share our experiences, what works, what doesn't work from the experiences. Then we have innovative, capable people. So we need to keep the young and capable and energetic. I think you need a business people, you need a social people. So how do you really have a combination of this? And supporting institution and networks and ensuring the impact. Last 3 years, about 250,000 people declared themselves out of poverty. People themselves come say that I'm out of poverty because of this 10 years intervention. So that's the highest part of impact. That's what I would say that. So people themselves coming out, okay, I'm out of poverty because of this. These are the processes. So it's not social economic. I think here another challenge is still these environmental issues still needs a lot more to be decided, which is really very, very important. So let's build a network. Let us build a network not only with the existing alliances, but I think there is a now high time to build our network at locally, regionally. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Vasimalai, for sharing that multi-generational model and also your vast experience in how to actually get social enterprises through the different stages. It's now my pleasure to introduce Ms. Christine Jen, the Executive Director of the World Fair Trade Organization of Asia, to actually provide us now a regional perspective after hearing examples of in-country social enterprises.
Good afternoon. In Europe today, fair trade sales excess $7.5 billion a year. I've just come back from Seoul, where we had the World Fair Trade Organization Asia conference. The city of Seoul is investing significant amounts of money in fair trade. We had thousands of school children participating in how to raise fair trade. Oh, sorry, can I miss you? That's one? Okay. That's okay, that's okay, that's all fine. So we had that.